Hello, this is how to install and use the DOS emulator DOSBox-X. I'm on the Linux operating system Ubuntu 20e5.10. Let's see how to install it. Says Linux version, Flatpak on FlatHub. Let's see this. I'll need a terminal emulator. Let's see if I have Flatpak installed. It's here. I don't have any Flatpaks installed. Let's find out how to install FlatHub. So FlatHub is a App Store, a repository of Flatpak applications. I'm on Ubuntu. So I did install Flatpak. I'll need to add the repository. Let's actually add it per user. Okay, and then we can install the application using this command line. Probably also per user. It will install the package that we want, but also all of the other packages that are required by the package com.dosbox_x.dosbox-x, especially the platform org.freedesktop.platform. So the application is available. It should be available in the KDE Plasma start menu under games, and it's called DOSBox-X as we would expect. I have created inside my home directory named DOSBox, and I want to use that. I want it to use that directory in the future. Let's see if it did what I expected. Not really. Thank you for subscribing, joining, and helping this YouTube channel. I expected that the drive c:\/ would be mapped to ~/DOSBox and the mount would automatically exist, which is not the case. Let's look at the syntax on how we can actually accomplish this to have the directory ~/DOSBox from the host operating system as c:\drive in DOSBox. For that, we have the option of running the command help or the command intro, as it says at the top in here. Basic mount. So this is what we want, mount space, and then the drive name C, and then the directory path on the host operating system. Let's exit from here. So mount, uppercase C, and then ~/DOSBox. The commands are case insensitive, so you can write uppercase mount or lowercase mount. And this is what we wanted, to have the drive C: inside DOSBox be this directory. And we'll also make this change persistent because if we're going to restart DOSBox-X, we don't really want to run these two command lines again. So mount space C space ~/DOSBox and C:. Let's go to the configuration directory. Where is it? Because we're using Flatpak, the configuration file for DOSBox is actually in here, ~/.var/up/ the reverse DNS name of the application, so com.dosbox-x config, and then DOSBox-X, and then finally the file name, which is DOSBox-X, and then the version, and then conf. Let's see how it looks like. Very similar to the configuration file for the DOSBox application. Probably at the very end is the auto-exec part. This is an INI configuration file. So in this section, auto-exec, we will need to have these two lines, command lines that we have just run. So mount C and then tilde slash DOSBox and then C colon. Save and exit from DOSBox-X. Open it again. Games, DOSBox-X. And it has run these two command lines automatically, and now we have a C colon drive where we can put our files. I would like to see the window of DOSBox-X be a bit larger. Let's try to change the resolution the way we did in DOSBox. So this is the configuration file. Let's make a backup of it. Let's edit the configuration file. So the output should be OpenGL, which it already is. Or output, the value for output is default, but then the application says that it's actually using OpenGL in the DOSBox-X main menu. We will see immediately. And then we should change the two resolutions, window resolution and full resolution, to be 1024 by 768. So that's 4:3 aspect ratio. Let's see if this is enough. And it's better. Next up, I would like to install the file manager Norton Commander in here, because this is what I have always used when I had used MS-DOS at the start of the 90s. So in the era where Windows 3.11 for workgroups existed, before Windows 95 was launched. And on computers that couldn't really run Windows XP, because there were not enough resources and especially not enough random access memory. We have 3 IMG files, which are a floppy disk image, 1.4 megabytes. We want to mount them inside DOSBox as the drive A, and then copy the contents of each of these 3 images into a new directory inside C:\\. For this, we're going to use the command line img mount. So let's see what we have. It says that C is empty. So I have written the files into the directory ~/DOSBox on the host operating system, and then DOS and DOSBox-X couldn't see the files, so I needed to restart DOSBox-X. And now the files are here, we can see them. Let's create a directory, make dir kit. The directory full name will be C:\kit, all uppercase. And now we're going to start to run the image mount command lines. So img mount where a drive and the file name, and there's auto completion disk01.img. Let's see how a colon looks like. Let's go to the C colon, go to the kit, install the kit directory, and copy all of the files from A. So A colon backslash everything into the current directory. And then we want to unmount A colon, which is done using the mount command line. Mount minus not slash U, and then the drive A. And now the drive A doesn't have anything inside. We can continue mounting. We have the history of command lines that we have just run using the up arrow key. So we want the mount command line disk 02. We're in the wrong directory, so we need to specify the parent directory. Okay, and now we can copy. We can unmount. We can mount the third disk. We can copy all files from the A drive to C colon backslash kit directory. Unmount the last floppy image. And now we can start installing. Unfortunately, we should have created a directory nc in here, but we'll do that once we have Norton Commander installed. Let's see what is the name of the installer. So should have the extension exe or bat or com, so com batch or exe, and it's probably this one, install.exe. There's auto completion. We want colors. We want a full install. C colon backslash nc is the correct directory to install. Okay, so this is probably one of the last versions of Norton Commander. 5.51 comes is 3 floppy disk images, 1.4 megabytes each. So instead of actually trying to install from the first floppy disk image and then partway through the Norton Commander installer wizard would pause and make you insert another disk in the A colon drive, I actually mounted one by one each of the floppies in a colon drive, and then copied all of the files from the 3 disks, from the 3 floppy disks, to a directory on C colon drive. And it wants to actually stop DOSBox. So it wants to reboot in order to apply changes to autoexec bat and config.sys. Okay, let's do that and see if reboot actually works, and it seems to have worked. Okay, so now we have the Z drive, which is the part of the DOSBox installation. So DOSBox has 2 parts. There's the Linux executable with the emulator, which emulates a BIOS, a PC computer, but then there are also the files that should be available inside the running DOS instance, which is at least command.com, which is the what you see in here, the REPL, which expects DOS commands, which implements as built-ins the DOS command lines copy, dir, make dir, rm dir, change directory, etc. There's autoexec.path, which is a simple script that will be run when the operating system starts, and other files and executables that are needed for the DOS instance that runs by default inside DOSBox. So that's what z:\/ is. You should not actually write here. That's why you should mount a directory from your host operating system as C: drive and then put in there whatever you want. So in here we have a subdirectory c:\/nc. Let's actually use a full path. And then there's a file in there called nc.exe. This guy. This is Norton Commander. Right now it's only showing the active pane. So Norton Commander is similar to Total Commander, to DOS Navigator, GNU Midnight Commander, is a orthodox file manager twin pane, has a right and a half and left pane. And right now it's showing just the right pane because the other pane is not active. You change the active pane using probably the tab key. So we're going to look through the help, which is shown at the bottom as F1. And in here, we're going to go at the list of keyboard shortcuts, probably this one. Keyboard reference 1 out of 2. And now we go next. So I have pressed the next button a number of times, probably 4 times. And in here we can see the setting that we're after, which is toggle inactive panel on/off, Control P. So let's go cancel and Control P. Let's see if the tab key works. Yes, it does. Let's see the files that we have in here. So inside c:\/nc we have the installation of Norton Commander, the file manager. It looks as we would expect. We shouldn't write in here. We should actually exit, and inside c:\/kit there should be an nc directory with the content of the 3 floppy disk images with the Norton Commander installer. So let's actually do that. We want to move all of the files from c:\/kit directory. And I don't know how to do that because I don't have an asterisk key. So I'm going to press the insert key a lot. Okay, and then I'm going to move all of these files to the right, which is this thing, F6, rename or move. Rename or move. And now inside c:\/kit there's just one directory, nc, with the installer kit for Norton Commander. Top level c:\/ there's just one important directory here, which is the installation of the Norton Commander file manager. And we can actually look at the Z column drive. I have pressed Ctrl O to show the full terminal that's behind Norton Commander. So Control O, Control O. Let's look at the Z colon drive. So there's autoexec.bat, F3 to show the file inside the read-only viewer. It's actually text from DOSBox-X.conf file. It says something about the audio output device, probably, and then runs the two command lines that we have put in the autoexec path section in the ini configuration file DOSBox-X.conf file. So mount space space tilde slash DOSBox, and then the second one C colon. So this changes to the drive C from the default drive, which is Z. Okay, command.com is a DOS 16-bit executable file. Config.sys is also a configuration file. In here we can see how the path environment variable is composed out of z colon backslash, z colon backslash system, z colon backslash bin, etc. There's a readme file. And then there's the directories. So inside the bin directory, there's executables, there's an unzipper, there's a zipper, zip.exe and unzip.exe. Inside system, there's help, the command that you're instructed to run first after you install DOSBox-X to learn a bit about it. Intro, the command that we have actually run. Mount, we have run mount to mount the C colon drive, but also to unmount the A colon drive. img mount to mount the 3 floppy disk images as A colon. Okay, so at this point we have DOS installation working correctly inside a emulator, DOSBox-X. We also have the correct text user interface file manager, Norton Commander. Let's install some DOS software and see if it works correctly inside this installation. Let's see if we can install the game Prehistorik 2. It comes as just one 1.4 disk image, megabyte. So let's run the command. It was img mount. img mount. The drive letter is A, and then the name is disk 1. img mount, and there was no autocompletion. A colon. Let's see what's in here. Probably this is the file that we want, pre2inst.bat. Let's see what it does. So it does c colon make dir c colon backslash pre2 cd. Okay, and it's going to copy the files to the C drive. Okay. Let's actually run it. Why don't we have autocompletion? pre2inst.bat. Press any key to continue. it was installed into the directory /pre2, but probably the installer didn't actually do much. It just copied files over from the floppy. Yeah, that's it. It just created the directory /pre2, which is a predefined name, and copied whatever was on the floppy into that directory. Let's see if the game actually works. Probably this is the only possibility. So we're looking for files with the extension .com, .bat, or .exe, and the only that probably resembles that is this one, pre2.com. And the game just works. Start level 1. Mode beginner, of course, beginner. I'm pressing the space key on my keyboard. Yes. So in a hidden place, there were three points. Okay. Oof. How do we jump? Run and jump. Jump up arrow key. Yeah, similar to Mario, Super Mario, you need to learn where the various power-ups are hidden. A good thing. Whew. Yeah. Really, really good game from the period from 1993. If you had DOS that in the year 1993, you probably had this game. Woo. Okay, that would be it. Let's also see if we have something from the Borland Turbo family. Let's see if we can get Turbo Pascal working. So this is probably the Turbo Pascal, Borland Turbo Pascal 7.0 installer, pascal.exe. Let's see if this actually works. So it's inflating files. It's a self-extract utility. Unfortunately, I should have created a subdirectory in /kit / I don't know, TP and put pascal.exe, the executable installer, in there. Because right now it's polluting /kit. Okay, count.pas. It should have used the subdirectories for, at least for the .pas files. Okay. What did we actually get by extracting all of these? So this is not really the Turbo Pascal installer because that's has a text user interface installer wizard similar to what we saw when we installed Norton Commander. So it's just a valid installation of Turbo Pascal and compressed with a self-extractor. Let's see if we can move this installation some other place. The canonical name for the directory is probably c:\\tp from Turbo Pascal. Let's see if we can put all of the files in here except the Norton Commander installer. And move everything. So F6 move. Unfortunately, the DOSBox-X application has two important features that didn't really work out of the box for me. So inside DOSBox. So DOSBox-X by default worked better than DOSBox for me because I could use the mouse. That's really important, at least inside the text user interface application such as this one, Norton Commander, or inside Turbo Pascal, the integrated development environment. And also I didn't need to ungrab the mouse, so I can easily exit the DOSBox-X window with my mouse and the ungrab will happen automatically. So there's no need for me to keep pushing the keyboard shortcut for ungrabbing the mouse, which used to be Ctrl F10. So two very important features which work better out of the box in DOSBox-X compared to the original DOSBox. Okay, so let's see what we have. A c:\kit\nc with a Norton Commander installer kit, so we don't actually need this directory any longer. And then in top level c:\, we have the TP directory with Turbo Pascal, and the executable is actually Turbo. Let's find it at letter T. Turbo.exe. And this is it. While exit works with the mouse, I can exit Norton Commander with the mouse. I can go to the root of the drive c:\. I can start Turbo Pascal from here, for instance, with a full path c:\tp and then Turbo. Automatically opens a empty file with the default name, no name 00.pas. And who knows if I remember Turbo Pascal syntax. And with a dot. Right line. What was the syntax for right line? Right ln. Let's compile Alt F9. Press any key and run. From the main menu, run and run. And let's view the output window. How do we do that? And it did work. Inside the Turbo Pascal main menu, debug, and then output shows the output tool window as a tool window in the sense that it's resizable. You can close it, you can maximize it, you can scroll inside it. So really a tool window as it should be. inside a integrated development environment with multiple windows. In the year 1994. You can actually move the windows around. There's window decoration with window title bar text. The various windows have a number. So the text editor is window number 1. You can list the open windows. Very, very advanced functionality in just 1.8 megabytes of size. Zipped. Okay, so this was it. This was how to install and use the DOS emulator DOSBox-X. So it contains a graphical user interface application that's OpenGL accelerated, that displays a working DOS instance, also contains a DOS instance. And then inside you can just start installing software that worked correctly in DOS 16-bit. So for instance, in the latest version of DOS, which is, I know, MS-DOS 6.2. All of the applications that I have tried have worked correctly. Norton Commander, Prehistorik 2, and Borland Turbo Pascal 7.0. Thank you.